Okay, good morning. Welcome back to my stream. Yesterday what we did was worked on a bunch of random stuff, but was trying to make the infrastructure better. And now hopefully with the infrastructure being better, we can actually start working on magic. So let me switch over to my screen. Here we go. And pull up chat over here. There we go. Okay. So let's get log. Take a quick peek. Strength potions, hangover, tooltip. Right. So that was all the infrastructure we needed for adding the ability to, or the code, the ability to modify stats on the fly. Right. We have the strength potion. Oh, we can't use it. Let me refresh. Strength potion. Boom. And now you can see the strength potion is affecting us, and hangover, which still says Hanover, but I fixed that before committing. So that's all working, and now we're going to dive into magic. Magic has its own whole mini game, I guess you could call it. Right? The equipment is stuff you put on, and then magic is stuff you learn and then you can use, and we're going to use this mana bar. Right now there's 4 mana. And so we'll see how this goes. Alright, let's dive right in. Enough nonsense. Let's do this, just make sure we're clean, and we are. Okay, so the last few chapters have been building up to making this one possible, spell casting. We've had a blue mana bar on screen for quite a while. Now we make it do something useful. Spellcasting is an optional way to play the game. I guess. I mean, you could design the game such that it's possible to not use any spells, right? You can do quite well bashing things if you prefer. It's a common feature in role-playing games that you can't cast a spell until you know it. You study hard, learn the gestures and incantations, and can now unleash your mighty magical powers on the world. The first implication of this is that an entity needs to be able to know spells. A nice side effect of this is that it gives us a convenient way for us to gives us a convenient way for us to add special attacks to monsters. We'll cover that later. For now, we'll add new component called known spell, and we're going to have a vector of known spells. And it looks like both of them. Oh, this is a known spell. It's not a component. This is a known spells with an S, and it is a component. Okay. So let's pull up components. Let's create the. This is not a component, and it's called known spell. And then we have this guy, which is the actual known spells. Avor Falanta says, are you using some sort of framework, or did you build everything from scratch? If you take a look at this, let me put this in chat. If you take a look at this, it basically builds you up from ground zero. You start with an empty Rust project, and you work your way all the way to making, so far, let's see, let's do a reveal here so you can see the map. So this is a Rust roguelike. It's actually running in my browser, but you can run it outside the browser too if you want. And it has everything is there. Like I said, you start from ground zero. Oh, you're welcome. And yeah, let me know if you enjoy it. I've been having a lot of fun with it so far. It's taught me some Rust. It's taught me some entity component systems, and it's taught me some WASM, and it's taught me that I like to stream spell. So we have a list of spells, and this is actually the component. So we need to put this in main. Known spells with an S. So we'll go from here. We'll sort these into place, and then in our save load system, spawn particle. Okay, so we'll put it here, known spells, and then go down to the next one. There we go. We'll also add it to spawner's player function. Eventually we'll blank the spells list, but for now we're going to add zap as a placeholder. Okay, let's check this. And go to spawner. Oops, wrong one. Spawner. There we go. So, fun player. There we go. We should probably get rid of the. Oh, I already deleted the scroll, didn't I? The strength potion. Sorry. Okay, so we're going to add to the player, which is up here somewhere. Yep. It's just named player, so we'll just add another with statement here. And the mana cost is going to be 1. Like that. All right, let's see what Rust format does. Okay. Of course, we don't have it spelled that way. K-N-O. No, there we go. And 2. Oh, I did 2 minus string. Oops. There we go. Okay. So if you remember back in section 4.9, wow, that was a ways ago. That's chapter 52 and we're on 66. We specified that the user interface should list spells that you can cast. Our intended interface looked like this. So here's cast zap. It's kind of hard to read. I can zoom in a little bit. There we go. And now you can see it says cast zap. Average, it's your mother. There's hungover. Okay. Now that we have the data required, to fill this out. Open up GUI and find the part of Draw UI that renders consumables. Right underneath it, insert the following code. Okay. So let's find the GUI. There's consumables. So it's between consumable and status. We're going to add spells. Add a blank line. Do I already have blue? Oh, I do. So I don't need to grab it again. Oh, this one's cyan though. Do I have cyan? I do not. Let's add cyan. Okay, so we don't have to do that. Let known spells storage. Okay, grab a list of all the spells. Let known spells is known spells storage get player entity spells. Okay, so this is all the known spells, and these are all the spells that are on the player entity. Oh, we don't need to do this. We can use the enumerate for index spell in known spells iter enumerate. I'm not sure why sometimes he uses enumerate and sometimes he doesn't, but we're going to try to be consistent and use it wherever we can. 50 Y cyan black format control index. Yeah, we want to limit it to 10 though, right? Because we're 9 anyway. Spell, display name, and spell mana cost. And then y plus equals 1, and we're done with that loop. It doesn't like it. Oh, known spells. We got to add up here. And format needs a bang. Okay, so that's clean. This reads known spells component. Player must have one. Extracts the list and uses it to render spells with the hotkey listings. We've made the blue into cyan for readability. Then you should have called it cyan. But it looks about right. Zap. 1. Okay, well, we can try it out, right? We'll take a 22-second break here while this builds. Take a sip of water. Go over here. Move the cursor in an impatient fashion. Provide some dead air, and there we go. 23.84 seconds. Wow, this is getting nuts. All right, but here it is. Control 0 is zap. Do we want control 0? We want control 1. Oh, right, because index starts at 1. And I did a mistake. I did a bad. Okay, so let's fix that real quick. Index. Oh, see, I was doing it here. I just need to remember to add 1 here. That's all. I should probably fix this while I'm here. That's going to make that all format wild, huh? And then index is going to be index is less than or equal to 10. Why that? I don't know. That's the consumables. I guess it should still be less than 10 because we don't want 10 in there. It wants to be 0. We don't increment index, and then we would just format index plus 1. Okay, so that should all be the same then. Boom, done. Okay, so now casting spells. Displaying the spells is a good start, but we need to be able to actually cast or try to cast them. You may remember in Player we handled consumable hotkeys. We'll use a very similar system to handle spell hotkeys. So player input inside the player. Here's player input. Here it says, so we have the shift thing here. If context is control and context key is sum, use consumable hotkey, and here it says use spell hotkey. So why don't we use this same? Yeah, let's use the same format. Let's just be consistent here. So this is control. Do the same thing here, blah blah blah, and then spell. And now we have to write use spell hotkey. This is just like the consumable hotkey code. A wise user would refactor some of this into a function, but we'll keep it separate for clarity in this tutorial. It calls use spell hotkey, which we haven't written yet. And I think the way this works is if I hit shift control at the same time, both of these are going to fire. So we'll consume a consumable. Like I'll eat dried sausage and hit fire zap at the same time if I hit shift control 1. So that's something that would be nice to clean up. Say, oh, if we use this, oh no, there's a return statement there. So shift takes priority. But maybe it shouldn't. Maybe it should just say no such command as control shift 1. All right, I'm not going to worry about it. But we can add to use consumable hotkey. We can put use spell hotkey. Okay, use super known spells. I wonder why we're doing it that way instead of putting it at the top. Maybe it was just simplicity's sake, so he doesn't have to say add this to the top. But he wasn't doing that stuff before. And known spells is going to be... this is ECS, right? And then just known spells, storage, get, player, entity. So same code we had for the GUI, except 2 L's in spells, and then if key as usize is less than known spells.len, right? So if it's a key that's actually on there, pools is GS, ECS, read, storage, pools, let player pools. If player pools dot mana dot current. To do. Okay, and then here, why didn't that line up? Else, game log. And say game log, entries, push. We don't have enough mana to cast that. Okay. I think that's... oh, and then we have to return a run state. So run state ticking. There we go. We have 2 warnings. Let's see what they are. Oh, it's already being pulled in. Yeah, so we don't need that. Good. Okay. Notice the big to-do in there. We need to put some infrastructure in place before we can actually make the spell casting happen. So we need to define a spell. So we're going to add this to our raws. We're adding a whole new section. This is the first time we've added a section in a while. So here, let's put it right at the top. Looks like we didn't quite finish it. Oh, we just need a comma there. Okay, not a problem. Let's extend our raw system to be able to read this and make it available for use in game. We'll start with a new file, spell structs, which will define what a spell looks like to the JSON system. Okay. We don't need that extra line there. Let's write this and then edit source raws spell structs. Oops. There we go, and then pub struct spell. It's a hash map of string to string. So these are just this. And I guess we'll parse those out later. Now we'll add mod spells, pub use spells to raws, and extend the raw struct to include it. Okay. So now we just pull up the mod for it. And it's spells. This says add mod spells, but I don't think that's it. It spells structs for the mod. I think that's what we need to do. Let's double check. This is taking longer and longer. I need a faster machine. We have 2 warnings, probably because we're not using it, maybe? I don't know. And then, yeah, so mod spell structs, use spell structs. Okay. This says pub use. Let's see if that it causes us to run into problems. But let's take a look at our raws here. And under faction table, we're going to put pub spells, which is a vector of spells. Now that we've made the field, we should add it to the empty system in raw's raw master. Okay. Oops. Raw master. What's the empty system? Oh, this. Yeah, that's already defaulted. Okay, we're good. We don't have to do anything. But we do need to add the index here. So this is spell index. This is a hash map of string to usize. Yeah. I think we're good because we already did this. The default covers our issues. And then in load, we'll need to populate the index. So here's load. I don't know if it matters where it goes. I'll just stick it in the middle somewhere for I, spell. So here they're using enumerate, self, spell, index, insert, spell, name, clone, I. Okay, so that maps all the indices. We're tying the spell design very heavily to the existing item effects system. But now we hit another minor issue. We're not actually spawning spells as entities. In some cases, they just go straight into the effects system. However, it would be nice to keep using all of the effect code we've written, so we're going to spawn template entities for spells. This allows us to find the spell template and use the existing code to spawn its results. First, in components, we'll make a new spell template component. Okay, let's just check this real quick. And then we'll go into components. And we'll just add this pub struct spell template. So how is that different to, okay, it just has a mana cost. And then raw master will add a spawn named spell. So here's raw master. We have faction reaction. Here's spawn named item. I guess we can just put it here at the top. Spawn. It says pub fun. Let's see what happens. Let's see where it's called from. Spawn named spell. Pause raw master. It returns an option entity. Yep. Okay. So if raw's spell index contains key. Okay. And then let mut eb. So we are creating a spell template entity. It says marked, simple marker, SERIALIZE. There we go. It's not easy to type. With spell mana cost, spell template mana cost. So we're deriving the spell template from the spell template. Okay, and then EB is EB with name. And then apply effects. Okay, so this just generates all the templates, or at least that one template, and returns some EB build. Otherwise, we can return none, saying you can't create that spell. Okay. It doesn't like mana cost. Unknown field on spell template. Really? Its mana cost is right there. What does it think there are? Name and effects. Did we miss? Did I miss? Yeah, this is just name and effects on spell. Huh. Okay. And this also has name and effects. That's weird. Let's take a quick peek at their code. We're on chapter 66, right? So let's pop back up there. We are in source, raws, spell structs. The spell does have mana cost there. All right, so this might be just a missing link in the book. If I do search for mana cost, it's not going to really help because it's everywhere, right? Yeah, I think that was just an oversight on the. Yeah, so these have mana costs associated with them, but the other ones, or the very first one we did, does not. So let's just add it. Kill that. Where were we though? In queuing zap? No, that's too far. Yeah, so up here, right here. Okay, so let's fix that. I think we just need to add to spawns.json. We need to add this mana cost, and it's going to be 1. Actually, let's take a quick peek here. It's an I32, so I guess we can just throw a number in there. Right, like that. And then we need to modify spell, which is, oh, it's not here. Spell structs. We got to add pub mana cost of I32. Like that. Okay, let's try that. Okay, so that worked. So that was all of this. This is simple. We create a new entity, mark it for serialization, and as a spell template, give it a name. So as a spell template, we're going to give it a name and use our existing effects macro to fill out the blanks. Then we return the entity. We want to do this for all spells when a new game starts. We'll start by adding a function to rawmaster to call it for all spells. All right. So this can be public, right? Pub fun spawn all spells. Okay. Since the player only spawns once, we'll call it the beginning of spawner's player function. That guarantees that it will be present, since not having a player is a fatal bug and a sad thing. Alright, so spawner. FN player. Right at the top here, we'll call spawn all spells. ECS. I'm not sure why we don't just put it in the main function that calls the player spawner. I don't know. Finally, we're going to add a utility function to help us find a spell entity. It's pretty straightforward. All right, let's see if this compiles. So this is finding a spell entity by name. Oops, too far. There we go. Let's do this. Pub fun find spell entity. Nope, I'm looking at the wrong line here. ECS world and then name stir. Returns option entity. Let names. Okay, so we're going to loop over each one of the spells by name. And then we're going to return the entity if it belongs, if it's equal to that spell name. Name is spell name. And that's the spell template entity. Okay. It doesn't like that because I spelled it wrong up here. And it doesn't like join because why? Entities, names. Huh, why doesn't it like that? It couldn't join on those three things. Did I forget? Oh, does spell template, is that not a component? No, it's a component. I componentized it. Spell templates is read storage. Names is read storage. Entities is entities. Oh, names. There we go. That was the problem. It was using this variable here in this, and it wasn't working. Okay. And queuing zap. Now that we have zap defined as a spell template, we can finish up the spell hotkey system we started earlier. First, we'll need a component to indicate the desire to cast a spell. Right. So we're going to go back to components, and we'll add a wants to cast spell. Which contains a target and the spell that we're, an optional target, sorry, and the spell we're trying to cast. Because not all spells need a target, right? This gives us enough to finish up spell casting. So now we're going to modify our player.rs. We got to add these before I do anything else. I want to make sure I add this to main and save load. Oh, we can't do it this way? We can't add component. If there's an entity in there, we can't add component. What do we have to do? We have to use convert save load. There we go. Oh, that's what was there. So, okay, we're good. So let's go over to player. And here's our use spell hotkey. Here's our to-do code. So instead of the to-do, we're going to say use create component ranged. Oh, first we have another indented if let. Spell entity. Find spell entity. GS ECS. Dot name? No, dot display name. Use create components ranged. GS ECS. Read storage. Ranged. Get spell entity. So if it's a ranged spell, then we're going to do the target. Return run state. Show targeting. Range. Wow. And item is spell entity. Okay, and that'll run the targeting system. Otherwise, oh, why is there a semicolon there? There shouldn't be a semicolon there. Let mut intent GS ECS write storage wants to cast spell. Expect. And then we're going to run state ticking. EXPECT. There we go. Okay. Otherwise we'll do the game log thing. So if it's a ranged target, then we're going to show the targeting menu or the targeting GUI. Otherwise, we're going to insert the intent directly. You'll notice that we're reusing show targeting, but with a spell entity instead of an item. So we need to adjust the conditions in main to handle this. All right, let's just check on here, and then we'll change game state. Show targeting. Here's show targeting, and what are we going to change this to? We have a ranged target. It still does all of this, but the intent wants to cast a spell. This is wants to use item. Okay, so I think we just shift this over, right? If self ECS read storage spell template get item is some. So if it's a spell, then we're going to let mut intent is self ECS write storage wants to cast spell. And then intent insert self ECS fetch entity wants to cast spell, the spell of the item, and then the target is result.1, and then dot expect unable to insert intent. Otherwise, we assume it wants to use item, shift everything over, and close that else out. And then both of them end with run state ticking, so I've got it outside the if. There's no reason to have it in both places. Because no matter what code path you follow here, you're going to end up with run state ticking. Good. So when a target is selected, it looks at the item entity. If it has a spell component, it launches wants to cast spell. Otherwise, it sticks with wants to use item. You've hopefully noticed that we're not actually using wants to cast spell anywhere. We'll need another system to handle it. It's basically the same as using an item, so we'll add it in next to it. In inventory system, use system, we'll add a second system. Oh, I see what they mean by next to it. I mean beneath it. Here's the use system. This is the item use system, and then we're going to have a spell use system, which is the whole kit and caboodle. Okay. Pub, struct, spell, use, system. And actually, it's going to be mostly of this, right? This will be spell use data. Entity, map, entities, wants to cast spell. Name, area of effect, identified item, and equipment changed. So those are all the same. So now we'll say impl tick A, system, tick A for spell use system. Equals spell use data, tick A. Okay, run. Mut self data self system data. Wants use. This should be wants cast. Names AOE mut dirty. I think they just copy pasted also. Mut identified item is equal to data. And then for entity and use item, cast item, in entities. Kurt, thank you for the follow. That's nice of you. Thank you. And then wants cast. Dot join. Okay, and 30 insert entity. So we're firing off equipment changed event for this. Expect unable to insert. Kurt says, what OS do you use and what is DE? What IDE maybe? I'm using Mac. This is just on a Mac. And my IDE is just NeoVim. Over here. And I'm using, actually, let me copy paste this. I'm using a modified version of, yeah, it's Mac OS. I'm using a modified version of ToggleBits config. So I'll just put that in the chat in case you're curious about that. That's where my colors come from and where all my hotkeys come from. For the most part. Like I said, I tweaked it a little bit. All right, so we're firing this equipment changed. Oops, and then I hit F1. Good. Let's keep going. So we identify it if it's unidentified. Calling a cast item, and then dot unwrap name clone dot expect. Kurt says, "What are you working on right now?" I'm doing the Rust Roguelike tutorial. Let me put a link to that in the chat as well. It is, I'm on chapter 66 here, but it is a very long and detailed description of how to make a roguelike in Rust using the RLTK is no longer called RLTK. It's now called bracket lib. But the tutorial hasn't yet been updated. Everything works. It's just different name. That's all. And we got through a whole bunch of stuff. We're down here now. We're almost done. Right? We're getting close to the end here. Currently working on this magic spells. And this is what it looks like right here. So this is your dude. We have little cheat menus so that I can skip around in various levels, and we can attack, pick up health potions and use them. Oh, that was a strength potion. So yeah, it's a neat little thing, neat little game, and it's basically showing you how to use entity component systems, how to make a roguelike. This is running in the browser, but if I go over here, I can, what's it, dev rt cargo run. I can actually run it as a standalone as well. You've seen a similar looking book just for Rust. Yeah, I think that was the intent, was to make it look very to use the same design for the roguelike tutorial, and that way you come into something that's familiar. Oops, this doesn't work. Oh, because I forgot to add something. I forgot to add spell template as a component. Let me fix that. Yeah, spell template doesn't work. So let's add that here. And then I have to add it to the save load system. All right. Of course, it doesn't work because I'm in the middle of editing code. So that's not going to build either. Yeah, so once unable to insert, where are we? Yeah, so it basically uses the same layout. So it's supposed to be similar looking. Familiarity makes it easier to get along with, right? So that's that. Oops, did I miss a close somewhere? Here's the get clone. That matches that. Doesn't like something. Let's find out. Wants to cast spells now in scope. Oh, okay, that's work. That's fine. Okay, so then once we do that, now we're going to call the effect system. Okay, so add effect. Is this identical to the code that's up here? Can I just grab this? It looks like it's exactly the same. That's unfortunate, because it would be nice if we could refactor it into a common... Except use item is cast item, so let's fix those. Oh, it's just that one. Okay. Target X, target Y, and then close that, semicolon, and then we're going to say wants cast clear. And that's very similar. Very similar. It's almost identical to the item use system, but takes wants to cast spell as input. It then sends an effect type spell use. That's the difference, is this guy here. Yeah, instead of a wants use, it's a spell use. We haven't written that yet, so let's do that. We'll start by adding it to the effect type enumeration. Ooh, where is this? It's probably in effects mod. Yep, okay, there we go. Let's throw it here at the end, I guess. Oh. Where is it? Here it is, spell use. We have it right next to item use. Okay. Let's if item spell. Then we'll need to add it to the spell applicator function. Target applicator. Here it is. Item use, else if it's spell use. Okay. All this if let is else if this feels like it should be a match instead. Let's see what Clippy says. Triggers spell trigger, which we have to write. Effect creator item, oh no, spell effect targets and ECS. All right, so now this is sending spellcasting to a new trigger function, spell trigger. This is defined in triggers.rs. All right, so in triggers.rs, there's event trigger. There's trigger, spawn line particles. I guess we just put at the end here. Does this return anything? It doesn't. Okay. But it just barely fits. If let some template. Let mutt pools is ECS right storage pools, and then if let some caster is equal to creator, where does creator come from? Oh, right there. Okay. If let some pool equals pools get mutt caster, if template mana cost is less than or equal pool mana current is equal to template mana cost. All right. So we can trigger the event regardless of whether or not we went through this pyramid of doom here. And again, I need to find out a better way of doing this rather than constant indentation. This frustrates me. This style of code. This is relatively simple. It checks that there is a spell template attached to the input, obtains the caster's pools to gain access to their mana, reduces the caster's mana by the cost of the spell, and sends the spell over to the effect system which we've already written. That's what that does. We'll also want to fix a visual issue. Previously, find item position has always sufficed for figuring out where to start some visual effects. Since the item is now a spell template, it has no position, visual effects aren't going to work. We'll add an additional parameter, owner, to the function, and it can fall back to the owner's position. Okay. Spell. There we go. Okay, so now find item position is where? It's in targeting. Okay, so creator. Option, so not, they say owner, but then we call it creator. That's fine. And it's an option entity that has a position. Maybe it's carried, maybe it's equipped, maybe the creator has a position. Okay. And that'll break all the people, all the places that that's called. So we just need to pass in none, I guess. Oh. We just need to make a small change in event trigger. Line particle spawn. That's where we just were, right here. If let some part UCS resource get entity ... What's the change we need to make? You actually have to tell me what the change is. Okay, we're going to look it up. This is in triggers, under the effect system, line particle spawn. Oh, we do have creator right there. Okay, so we can just put creator. Done. Okay, so that they just pasted the wrong line in here. We needed this line, and it's just ... Okay, not a problem. We figured it out. Good. We still have 2 more. What are the warnings? Oh, we don't need that. Okay. Oops. Ah, stop it. There we go. Player. Line 260. Don't need that guy. Okay. And there you have it. If you cargo run now, you can press Control 1 to zap people. Let's build the WASM. And see if we can... This says Control 0, but it'll switch to Control 1 in a second. As soon as I hit refresh. Take a quick sip of water. There we go. And refresh over here. Begin new game. Yeah, now it's Control. Okay, so now I should be able to zap. Let's go find some rats. Let's reveal the map so I can walk around more easily here. There's a rat. Let's Control 1. It pulls up the menu and I can hit rat. And we panic. Yay! Okay, where did we panic? Tried to fetch resource, but the resource does not exist. Did I forget to put wants to cast spell as a... I did. Oops. Okay. Cast the spell. So here's wants to approach. Let's add the save load. Oops. Wants to cast spell. And then we'll put it down here. Oops. As well. So hopefully that's the only bug. Is that we forgot to add it to the... we forgot to register that component type. All right, refresh, begin game, teleport and reveal and find a rat. Or a wolf or anything. Control 1. Zap. No game log, and I didn't use any mana, so I don't know if the zap worked. It used a turn. Nothing happened here, so I think we didn't quite do all the things we needed to do. Oh, I know what we didn't do. We didn't run the wants to zap system. Spell use system needs to go into the sit and run systems. Game state, run systems. need to add it here somewhere. There's item use. Let's put it right after item use, I guess. Let not spells is spell use system. Spells run now. Self yes. Do I need to pull it in somewhere? There's a crate star. Use system. Did I not make it a pub? No, it's a pub. It's pub struct spell use system. Oh, it's an inventory system, so maybe I need to export it from there. Yeah, there we go. So item use system is spell use system. There we go. Yep, that was the problem. Okay, so now if we build it, and take a quick sip of water again. We got to work on speeding this up. Maybe we can start optimizing the Rust compiler. That would be a chore. Okay, let's refresh. Begin new game. God mode, teleport, reveal. Oh, there's a rat right there. I didn't have to do all that. Okay, control 1 and zap. Ooh. So our mana went down. We didn't see anything happen to the rat, or at least there was no message. Rat is dead, so it killed the rat. Over Falante says, oh, the rabbit hole. Where's the rabbit? Is there a rabbit hole? Did I miss a rabbit hole somewhere? Alright, so our mana, we used up 3 mana, casting Zap 3 times. If I try to cast Zap again, it used up a mana. If I try to cast Zap again, it doesn't say I don't have enough mana. So we're missing something about... Oh, when I said improve Rust compiler, going down that rabbit hole, yeah. I think the reason this takes so long is because I'm streaming from the same computer that I'm compiling on, and I'm running pretzel rocks in the background for the music. And anyway, bottom line is I need a faster computer. All right, so everything seems to be working except for the game log part, and I don't know why. Gets this. Wow. Okay, we've done a lot of changes. Diff. Game log. We made a bunch of changes to game log, right? This is what I should be seeing, is you don't have enough mana to cast that. Whenever we try to use the spell hotkey and we don't have enough mana. If player pool's mana current is greater than or equal to known spells key as use size mana cost, then we do this. Otherwise, this should be pushed. Oh, I do see you don't have enough mana to cast that. I do see that. Okay. So that message is coming out. The message is not coming out is you zap or you cast zap on. Maybe we're going to get to that. Maybe we're going to get to that. Maybe I'm jumping the gun here. You can press Control 1 to zap people. You can, but it doesn't tell you you did. Let me look for other game log. Oh, that's it. That's the only game log thing we did. So we're going to have to fix that. All right, so restoring mana. You may notice that you never actually get your mana back. Let's clippy this and commit these changes before we go on to the next section. You know, the Rust compiler is open source, right? So we could make it faster. All right. I guess there's smarter people than me working on that. Git add. Oh, git status. What do we have here? A lot of changes. Git add raws. Source. Git commit. Added spell casting and the zap spell. You know what is missing though right now is we don't we don't have a way of, if we have more spells that we know than can fit in the hotkeys, then we don't have a way of listing spells. Right now, these consumables, I can hit I and list all of my consumables. So even if there were more than 10, I could still get into my inventory and use them. But there's no similar spell inventory screen. Alright, so we've done that. You may notice that you never actually get your mana back right now. You get to zap a few times, and then you're done. While it's very first edition, it's not a lot of fun for a video game. On the other hand, spells are powerful, so we don't want it to be too easy to be the Energizer Bunny of Magic. So a good start would be to provide mana potions to restore your magical thirst. So let's add that. We have a strength potion. So we're just going to add a mana potion. And then we can just right here, I guess, just add this, copy, paste. And this has the same glyph for the potion. It's still going to be purple, just like strength potion. Okay. The effects are different though. It provides mana. It provides 4 mana. We don't have support for provides mana yet, so we'll need to make a component for it. Everything is a component. All right. Pub struct provides mana. Okay, and in raw master we'll edit the spawn effects. Here's provides mana. Okay. Oh, but before we do that, right? We don't want to forget. We got to add these to main. And we got to add it to save load system. Go. And then in raw master, that's where we're going to add this line here. This provides healing, so we just add provides mana. It's going to be pretty much the same thing. No, I didn't like that. Oh, do I need to brace it? Yep, okay, very good. That creates the component. You should be used to this by now. So we'll need to handle the effect of using it. So we'll start by making a new effect system, an effect type in effects mod RS. So this is a whole new effect type. And where is it? There it is. So we'll put it right after healing. We'll put mana, amount, I32, done. And we'll mark it as affecting entities. Title effect hits entities is somewhere. Mana, and include it in our effect entities function. Okay. I guess we can just copy paste the healing. And this will just be restore mana. And it's in the damage system. Add the following to the triggers list. Right underneath healing. Okay. And something is true. And then we're going to make a restore mana in our damage system. Here's heal damage, inflict damage, and I guess right after heal damage we can put pub fun restore mana. Is this going to be any different to heal damage except using mana instead of damage or hit points? Right, this is just pull mana. It's all the same. Might as well copy paste and then change heal to mana, right? Get my target. This changes to mana. This changes to mana. Mana. Oops. Mana max and mana current. Add effect particle. This is going to be blue instead of green. Okay. That makes sense because that's the color of mana, and then that's all good. Did I miss any? I did. Mana is not found in this. Oh, because this should be mana. There. Okay, that was easy. This is pretty much the same as our healing effect, but with mana instead of hit points. So if you cargo run now, you have a decent chance of finding potions that restore your mana. All right, let's see if we can find a few potions that can restore our mana. There we go, begin the game. And we want to teleport. Oh, look at that. What do we got? Viscous orange potion, 2 viscous orange potions. If I hit shift 3, oh, that's a strength potion. Okay. Swirling green potion is shift 4 is a mana potion. Okay, so now if I can zap the rat a few times, 2 times. And now let's go see if we can find another mana potion. What's that one? There it is. Okay, and now I'll take it and I'll hit shift 5. Ooh, I don't know which one it is. Yeah, this is a bug that it does. This should go away after you use it, but it doesn't. We have to fix that. Mana potions out of charge. So I did shift 5. Let's do shift 3. Look at that. It restored my mana. Nice. Okay, so that's working. Make sure Clippy's happy, and then we can commit those changes. And then we can dive into learning spells. Mana over time. Get status. Get add raws and source. Get commit. Mana, restore, potions. Okay. We already support giving the player health over time if they rest away from enemies. It makes sense to do the same for mana, but we want it to be much slower. Mana is powerful. With a ranged zap, you can inflict a bunch of damage with relatively little risk, although positioning is still key since a wounded enemy can still hurt you. So we want to restore the player's mana when they rest, but very slowly. In player, the skip turn function handles restoring health. Let's expand the healing portion to sometimes restore a bit of mana as well. All right, so health components is that. There's the pools. Pools hit points is current. And then we're going to say let mut RNG. I would leave the RLTK off of that. So 1 chance in 6. Okay, so instead of a guaranteed overtime, it's just a random overtime, which is fine. And we'll just add random number generator up here so it compiles. This gives a 1 in 6 chance of restoring some mana when you rest, if you are eligible for healing. Okay. Okay. The sky really is the limit when it comes to designing spell effects. You can happily play with it all night. We're going to start by going into Spawner and removing the starting spell. You don't start with any at all. So we just vec new it. Okay. Alright, so we've lost our zap. Now we'll introduce our first spell book and make it a spawnable treasure. Let's define our first book in spawns.json. Okay. It's not a spell. It's a spell book, which means it's an item. Okay, and it has this little paragraph symbol. It's also purple. I guess purple is the color of spell or magic. And the effects are teach spell zap. Okay. Once again, 90% of this is already written. The new part is the effect teach spells. Teach spell. We'll need a component to represent this effect. So once again, in components. Let's see. Obstruct teach. T-E-A-C-H, yes, there we go. Pub spell string. There we go. And those are the spells that we can teach. Now we'll add it to the effect system in Rawmaster. Which is here. String. There we go. And finally, we'll need to integrate it into our effects triggers. Okay, and I forgot, once again, I forgot to add this to the main. What happened there? Oh, GD. That's why. There we go. Wow. Okay, that took 12 tries. Save load. Spell. There we go. And then we'll just put it here. It teaches spell. The order that these are in doesn't really matter as long as they're all consistent with each other. Okay, and we haven't been testing the save load system anyway. Teaches spell. Oh. Is it in the right spot now? Thank you. Okay, wow. And then we're going to go into triggers to learn spells. We're going to integrate it here as another effect. So providing food, identify item, remove curse, town portal, mana. I guess we can put it here. E-N-T-I-T-Y, thank you. If let some known. And there we go. And then if let some spell entity crate Ross. Find spell entity. Spell name? No, just spell. Okay. You see what I mean? What I was talking about before? What's all these if let some are all this is crazy. There's got to be a better way. Spell info ECS read storage spell template get spell entity. Right. If it's a spell, then we use spell. Oh, we don't use it right away. But we do get known spells. We get the spell entity from the spell that we grabbed up here. And with the spell entity, we have that. We have the spell info. Somewhere we're going to use known. And what are we doing with this? Yeah. Oh, so let mut already known. It's false. Here's where we're using known. There's a better way to do this, right? If not already known. Like if we did a try for each and just return okay or error. Not already known. Known spells push known spell. And then the mana cost. Spell info, mana cost. Okay. We do need to set did something to true. This is a big chain of if let, but it makes sense. Yeah, again, there's got to be a better way. We make sure that the item teaches a spell, then we find the student's list of known spells, then we find the spell's template, and if all of that worked, we check to see if they already know the spell and learn it if they did not. Then we mark did something so the book destructs. For testing purposes, let's make the spell book appear everywhere. All right, let's see if this checks first before we do anything else. What did I do here? I missed an ECS. Oh, I did an ECS minus. There we go. And I typoed that guy. All right, so now let's go back to JSON, the JSON file. Up at the top, I guess. You can just grab this line here, paste it in here. Beginner's Guide to Magic. And we should already have that as an item down here. Oh, this one's called it Beginner's Magic. So that's going to be a problem because it's got to be the same. It's got to have the same name, otherwise it's not going to work. The name needs to match. So and let's see what they did in here, actually. We can take a look at the response.json file. And they called it Beginner's Magic. All right, that's fine. Either way is fine. As long as they're consistent, then we should be good. So then I should be able to learn this zap spell. So let's try that as soon as it's done building. As soon as it's done building. Oh, 24 seconds is forever when you're streaming. Okay. So we should be now able to teleport, reveal the map. Fine, there's one right there. So that was quick. Beginner's Guide to Magic. We'll pick it up. We'll hit Shift 3, and we learn the Zap spell. And notice this should have been consumed, and it wasn't. I'm going to look here to see if, when he picks it up, and then it gets consumed. Okay, so this was not consumed. I did something to true, so it should have been consumed. Let's take a look at our triggers code to see what's going on. If did something and it's a single, oh, it has to be single activation. Ah, okay, let's take a look at the triggers code here and see what's going on. Source effects, triggers, and see what they have. It does have single activation required. And if we look at, there's all the did somethings. Here's learn spells. That's the same kind of thing. And it returns did something. But single activation was not set. How do we... Let's look for single activation just in this repository. Those are the systems. I don't care about the systems. I care about where it's... Oh, this is every chapter. Damn it. All right, I can't look under that one directory. So we need to be able to figure out how to make it a single activation. And was there something in the RAWs that did that? Or sorry, in the JSON that did that? I can't remember now. Ah, there is single activation. It's under props. I wonder if it's valid for non-props. Okay. Triggering item is no longer hidden. Yeah, there's some little bit of code that we need to add that allows us to make the spell book a single activation. Let's look for beginners here. Oops. Yeah, there's nothing in here which makes it a single activation. It is marked as consumable though. So you'd think that anything that triggered an effect. So let's take a look at the code that actually converts the book use. No, it's not here. This is just a basic book. It adds a teaches spell effect. And then when we trigger it, it does this. But somewhere we have to mark the item as consumed. Item trigger is check. Okay, so this is where it's consumable, right? If charges is less than 1, we're out of charges. Otherwise, we subtract 1. We call the invent trigger, and if it was consumable, then we try to delete it. It is marked as consumable. Let me go through, let me add some log out code here so we can see it in action. RLTK console log item trigger. I guess we can print out the number of charges. Format bang. Charges equals c.charges. Should be a comma. And then we can just say, oh, if max charges is 0. Oops. We can just copy this line, and we can, oops, show the max charges here. Maybe that's what's going wrong here. Nope. Open brace there. Sorry, open paren, I mean. And I forgot to close. Okay, so let's run this and see what comes out in the console log, which is down here. EasyMix says, what you doing? I am making a roguelike. Isn't this a wonderful looking roguelike? And you can actually follow along this if you go to this website, which is in the description. You can, this takes you from first principles, from an empty Rust project, all the way to, Alvaro Ferlante, thank you for for pasting that link in there. And yeah, it takes you from the beginning all the way to creating a roguelike that runs either in a browser, and also I can do it here, cargo run. The reason I don't do it here is because this way I don't have to flip my screen back and forth like that all the time, and also the window that shows up here is very, very small, and I don't know how to resize it yet. You can drag it and resize it. You can see how tiny this is. This would be hard to see on somebody watching a stream. But we can do this, but it doesn't resize proportionally, so things are kind of stretched out. So I don't like it. I stick with the browser, so you just switch browser tabs. All right, refresh, begin new game. What are we doing? Oh, I wanted to see if we can pick up a spell book, learn the spell, and have the spell book be used, but we're going to actually look down here in the console to see what it's doing. So item trigger is, max charges is 1. That's the issue. Max charges is 1. And so we need to figure out how we can set the max charges on that guy to 0. So that we clean it up after it gets used. It must be in this code here. Unwrap or 1. If I say unwrap or 0, charges will be 1. Oh, I see. I see. Let's see how they did it in their code, because I think we need to play around with that a little bit. So let's go to source raws raw master and look for consumable. This is unwrap or 1. Max charges and max charges. Okay, so their max charges is 1 by default. So how's their code? Just if you look at the demo right here, if I look here at the demo, you can see. Well, let's wait for it to loop. But you can, okay, here's the beginning of the loop. You can pick up beginner's magic. And then when they read it, they get the zap spell and beginner's magic disappears. So maybe they're not running the same code. We can say I32 min 1 max charges. I mean, it's this is a silly way to do it, but maybe this will do the trick. Let's just try it out. It's kind of a hack. Ooh. Oh, that's why they changed to beginner's magic, because this goes a little too far. All right, I'll fix that too after we test this out. And I got to remember to remove the console log messages. There we go. Begin new game. Oops. Teleport. Reveal. Let's look for spell book. There's one. Let's pick up the spell book. And let's hit shift 3. It does say charges is 0. Oh. Why does it say charges is 0? Because it should have been a minimum of 1. So if max charges is 0, it should have still created with charges of 1. So this hack didn't work. This hack doesn't work. Something else must be setting charges to 0. Maybe when it gets spawned, spawn named item. Oh, this is spawn named item. So it's spawning with a minimum of 1. All right. Let's look here. It says triggers. It's pulling this out of the consumable things. And this is what's inserting it into the consumables. This macro isn't causing it to break, is it? This is what adds it here. Let's take a look at the macro. The macro just affects. He just provides healing, provide magic. Only affects the actual things. It doesn't affect. There's single activation. Yeah, it doesn't affect the consumable part of it. Where else does consumable get used? We've got to figure this bug out. Here's the components. So it's raw master. Item structs is where it gets built. And here's the triggers. Oops. And these are the two places it gets used. So we never... I mean, this is the only place we decrement the number of charges, right? And we can see here it's out of charges because the charges is 0. What would be... Because when we create it in raw master, we're definitely setting it to 1. Right? If we do an unwrap or 0, then max charges is going to be 0, and I32 min of 1 and 0 is 1. Oh. No, it isn't. Okay. I'm an idiot. That explains that. Okay. Let's try again. And this should do it. This should do the trick. It's got to do the trick. What are the chances this does the trick? If I did polls, I'd do a poll. I don't do polls. Okay. Come on. Any second now. There we go. Okay. God mode, teleport. Oh, I don't have to reveal. There we go. Pick up the beginner's guide. Shift 3. Yay. Okay. That was the... Let's make that our fix. But in our trigger, we have to fix our triggers now to get rid of these console logs. That's it. Good. All right, so let's take a look at these diffs now. So we added a beginner's guide to magic. Let me change that to beginner's magic. So it fits on the screen. Right, there we go. And then what other diffs did we do? We did the learning spells, and we added the teach a spell status effect to support that. We modified this so that it would actually use up the item. Oh, and then I do need to change the spawn rate. Right, they're saying change the weight to 5, and right now it's 200, so we got to change that to 5. Okay, and then putting this all together, poison. Save. Git add raws and source. Added beginner spell book. Okay, so the next section is poison, and I have to stop soon. So why don't we save this for tomorrow? This would be a good stream to do tomorrow here, talking about doing poisoning. Because this is talking about doing damage over time, right? And so there's a dot effect here that we're going to add for tomorrow, which should be great. It should be a lot of fun. Let's see. Yeah, my usual time, 7 a.m. Eastern. So let me push these changes up and take a quick look here, and then we can call it a stream. And yeah, we got spell casting. We added the zap spell. We added a mana restore potion. We have a mana restore over time. We didn't actually check that, but we can. Zap. Oh, control. Oops. There we go. Let's find something to zap. Actually, I don't need to, right? I can just zap, use up mana, and then hit space. Oh, it restored right away. Space, 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 space. There you go. Okay. I'm no longer well fed, but that's okay. But so you saw mana get restored, so that worked. What else did we do? And then we added the spell book, and then we fixed the bug that prevented things from being used. And actually, if we take a look at, let me do, before I go, do one more thing. I'm going to take a look at the potions. What was happening before is we would drink the potion, it would be identified, but it would be, quote, out of charges. And I think that fix here, wherever it is, this fix here, changing this one to a 0 if there's no max, and then making sure there's at least 1, I think that might fix the using up the potion thing. So if I say teleport, reveal, let's go find a potion, or the wolf that's biting me in the butt. I don't know how I lost the wolf. There's a bandit. Where's all the potions? I'm just looking for a purple exclamation mark. That's all. I have to restart. Maybe I go to the next level. Maybe there'll be some here. There's one. Okay. So if we pick this up, it's a slimy green potion, shift 3. It was a strength potion, and it did disappear now. So that's good. So I fixed that bug as well. Good. Yeah, so tomorrow we will start with poison. And that should be a lot of fun. All right, thanks for hanging out with me, everyone. And hope you have a great day. Take care, and I'll see you soon. And thank you, Verbnoun, for the follow.